When we talk about Prince Hall Freemasonry, it often starts with Prince Hall and the 14 other brothers who were initiated in the Irish Regiment 441 Lodge in 1775. We don't often talk about the fact that Prince Hall had applied to become a Mason in several of the other lodges in the Boston area, and he was rejected. But after he and the 14 brothers were initiated in March 6, 1775, they were designated African Lodge Number 1. African Lodge Number 1 held its first meeting under that name in July of 1775. And from that date forward, Prince Hall Freemasonry has been active in the United States of America. We call it Prince Hall Freemasonry as it applies to African Americans practicing Freemasonry. The name of the original lodge, African Lodge Number 1, was changed to African Lodge 459 in 1784 when the Grand Lodge of England issued its charter to this lodge. In 1787, the document was delivered to Prince Hall in Massachusetts, and from that time forward, Prince Hall Freemasonry again officially had the stamp of approval with the document in hand from the Premier Grand Lodge of England. Prince Hall, as he practiced Masonry, continued to spread it by first establishing another lodge in Pennsylvania. Absalom Jones and Richard Allen, traveling to Boston and meeting, were initiated into Freemasonry there in African Lodge 459, and they later went back and organized African Lodge 459 of Philadelphia in 1797. Prince Hall also issued a charter to Providence, Rhode Island, and to New York City to establishing lodges. These three lodges met in convention and formed the African Grand Lodge of Massachusetts in 1808. When Pennsylvania, as Freemasonry spread through Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania also had responsibility for the southern jurisdiction of the United States. Therefore, when John W. Prout and the men who met at his house in 1822 applied for a warrant to establish a lodge in Washington, D.C., this Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania issued a charter to Social Lodge Number 7 of Washington, D.C., which June 6, 1825, held its first meeting under such name. So since June 6 of 1825 through this date, Prince Hall Freemasonry has been operating in the District of Columbia. Social Lodge Number 7 grew to an extent whereas the members decided they wanted a second lodge, and Universal Lodge was established in what we called Alexandria City, because during that time Alexandria was part of the 10-mile square that was the land base of the District of Columbia. The following year, in 1846, Felix Lodge was established. In 1847, these three lodges, Social, Felix, and Universal, met in convention and established Union Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia, with Charles Datcher as its first Grand Master. Following the establishment of Union Grand Lodge, the first lodge that was chartered by Union in the District of Columbia is Hiram Lodge Number 4. And that's a brief overview of the early history of Prince Hall Freemasonry in the District of Columbia. In 1862, of course, the Civil War was fully underway, and the politicians here in the city, the President and the U.S. Congress, was trying to decide what should they do with what would be the newly free black man in America. Well, Abraham Lincoln decided to have a meeting with some of the leading citizens of the black citizens of the District of Columbia. when the community heard about this, they met at one of the churches and selected 5 men who would represent them in a meeting with Lincoln. These 5 men, John T. Costin was the second Grand Master of Union Grand Lodge. He served in 1850. William Thomas served as Grand Master in 1861. And John F. Cook Jr., who would serve as Grand Master for 10 years from 1866 through 1886. The other 2 members were one a member of one of the leading social organizations in the city, and the second, of course, was a pastor. In this meeting, Abraham Lincoln expressed to these men his desire to see that all free blacks leave the United States of America. Those here in the District of Columbia, he considered some of the brightest or most intelligent African Americans in the country. He wanted them to immigrate to Haiti. Those that he saw being freed in the rest of the South with the conclusion of the Civil War, he wanted them to immigrate to Panama. Again, a lot of people don't know is that in 1849, gold was struck in California. And the difficulty in having gold shipments come from California back to New York, the economic and banking center of North America, it was a difficult task transporting this gold by land or by train. They wanted to find another route. And looking at the map, they thought if they could establish a colony of free blacks in what is now Panama, that they would be able to cut a strip through that isthmus or canal and shorten the travel time of the gold from California to New York City. However, when he presented this idea to the 5 men he was meeting with, they, for the most part, rejected the idea outright. As free black men living in this city and free black men representing free black men living in the northern states of the United States, they saw no way that black folk would give up their American citizenship in exchange for being exported out of the country to places like Haiti or to Panama. Lincoln was disappointed with their decision, but when they came back and reported to the Washington, D.C. community in general, for the most part, African Americans were quite satisfied with the fact that they did not support the idea of being sent out of the country to establish what would be a colony in Haiti or Panama.